Okay. Today, let's go over a couple things here, and then I'm gonna have you try out a couple problems. What we're going into is word-based problems, but don't think we're doing story problems. We're not doing story problems at all yet. This is something to get us in the frame of mind of how to write a percent. Okay, so the section we're in section 6.4. They're word-based problems, but it's not a story problem. Okay, it's word-based problems. So let me explain. The big thing that they're going to talk about is percents. You got percent, which they call a percentage. There's a rate, and there's a base. These are the three vocab words we need to understand today. Okay, I'm going to show you two different ways of doing this, because some people like one way, some people like the other way. I'm going to try to show you how this works. Okay, and I think you guys will like it, because it's something that you guys are really good at, the second method. So I'm going to try to show you two different methods of actually solving this. So we're going to try to look at two methods. The first one we're going to do is based on Algebra 1, an Algebra 1 method, which is something that hopefully you'll get to. And then the second method we're going to do is something that you guys are pretty much proficient at. It's going proportions. And we'll talk about that. And you guys have definitely displayed to me that you know how to do proportions. So that's what we're going to look at. And then we're going to try to apply it to games. And we'll try to talk about that. Okay? All right. Here we go. So this is the first one I'd like you to write down. So, what is 16% of 24? Okay, I'd like you to write this down. It's kind of a word-based problem. It's not a story problem for the most part. I would like you to write this down. This is the type of problem we're going to be doing the next couple days in here. This is by far, if you pay attention, it'll be probably the easiest stuff we've done for a while, which is nice, if you pay attention to the methods I've done. So it is very, very straightforward, very simple. But you got to pay attention to what I'm writing down here. Okay, so I'd like you to write this down somewhere in your notes, please. So write those down.
Sure.
Okay, so write down your notes. Waiting on you guys. Give you a few seconds here.
Write that down.
Write that sentence down, please. Sure, write down the sentence.
Pandemic and working with today for your plan.
Just going from somewhat good to not a whole lot of good.
Okay, I got a little bit of time here, and then we're going to talk about how to actually solve this and what it's actually talking about. Because there's three words that are on the board, and we're going to try to use the vocab words to describe this.
Oh boy. Hang on now.
I wish.
Okay.
Now this is how you can tell they have a loop.
Okay, here we go. Okay, here's the algebra way of doing this. Anytime they say the word what, you're going to replace this with a variable. So a variable is an unknown in algebra class. It can be any letter of the alphabet. I try to stay away from certain variables. So the variables that I try to stay away from. I try to stay away from the variables O, I, try to stay away from S. These are the ones that I definitely try to stay away from, and L. Now, why do you think I stay away from those letters?
Because they're not helpful.
They're not helpful in what way? Just look at them. Look at the way they're written.
it's oyster.
Not that. Just look at them individually. If I were to write those in the middle of a math problem, what do they look like? What does that look like?
A 0.
0, even though it's supposed to be an O. That's why I wouldn't use it. Because you'd actually be mistaken, like, oh, it's a 0, and then you'd add that to something. No, this looks like a 1 that I just didn't complete. This looks like a 5, even though it's supposed to be an S. This looks like a 1 again, it's supposed to be an L. These are letters I skipped. Now, I know that sometimes I try to avoid the letter X. I'm not going to avoid X in this case, because I'm going to show you the difference what we're going to do here. Okay? Alright, so the variable. Let's pick any letter of the alphabet you like. Pick it right now, other than these.
Wait, what?
Any letter of the
Y.
alphabet. Other
Dang
than
it,
these.
you were supposed to do A.
Y.
Y. Okay.
I said no.
I
didn't say
thought you
no,
said
said
I. Okay, so we have a Y. The next word, if they have the word is, you're going to replace it with an equal sign.
I mean,
So equal sign is the word is. Now,
L.
16%, you're going to make this a decimal. Now, how do you make 16% as a decimal?
0.16.
I don't know.
0.16. Yep, because you move the decimal over 2 spots. So 2 spots. Okay? The word of is a multiplication symbol, and I'm going to use a dot, not an X like you see in like junior high or elementary days. I'm going to use a dot, that means multiplying. And then the number 24. Well, 24 is 24. It's not a percent, so it's not a rate, so that's why I'm changing it. Okay? Alright, I'd like you to write all that stuff down right now. Label your picture. Label your picture. Label your picture with all the stuff out on the board now. This is going to be the thing we're going to call back on many a time. So if you're still writing, that's good. We're going to call back on these types of problems over and over and over to make sure that you know what to do. So when you look at a problem, you know the word is the equal sign, of is a multiplication. If they have the word what, it means a variable. And we're going to try to solve these in different forms. Now this is the first type of problem we're going to try to solve, is this one.
These are the one things that I can't do in my pros. Boy, I'm about to slap the teeth out of you.
Now this, the way I'm doing it right now is the algebra way of doing it. Some people like it, some people don't. I think it's very easy once you see it. Now there's a different way to do it.
I already like it then.
What?
I already like it then.
It's very straightforward, very easy.
I think the reason why he can't do it is because he lives out.
Stop. Alright. Okay, alright, here's what I'd like to do right now. So, right below it, we're going to put everything in one simple line with each other so you can see this.
Shut up.
Okay. What I'd like you to do right now is actually type in the math you actually see on the board there. So, what's the math that we're doing between these two numbers?
Times him.
Yeah, we're multiplying. So actually take and multiply these two numbers together, and I want to know what that number is. Go about 2 decimal places in if necessary. If there's no decimals, I want to know that answer. You're just typing this times that. So we're going to actually multiply. Don't say it out loud. Don't say it, just write it down on your paper. Y equals that number. I'm going to walk around the room. I want to see what your number is. Now if it's decimal, write down 2 decimal places of it.
How am I putting
Oh.
letters?
You don't. Just type in the numbers that you have there. The numbers, just type in there.
What do you want?
Boom, I like that answer. Yep. You don't need to type in the letters.
You
The
can't
letters
say
just there so you know what your answer is labeled as.
Really?
Okay, you have your answer written down? Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, good. Everyone's looking at like the right answer. Now, I had a great question. How do I type in the letters? You don't need to. With the math we do here, you just have to type the math you're doing here, and then your answer is just written down below, and that's all you have to do. This is your final answer on that problem. Now, what you're actually looking at, this is 16% chance out of 24 options. Now, what that means, let's say we're playing a game, okay? Let's say we're playing a game where there's 24 chances of you winning, okay? But there's 24 like games you're going to play. You have a 16% chance of winning. That means that out of all 24 tries you actually attempt, you're going to win about 4 times. That's 16% of 24. It's about 3 times you're going to win. This is something you should be thinking of when you're doing like a carnival game. You should be thinking, okay, how many options am I going to need to attempt? What's the percent of me winning? You know, like, is it likelihood that I'm going to win? To give you an idea, on one of the carnival games, and this happened years ago, over in Clear Lake they had the carnival for the 4th of July. There's a game where you can shoot basketballs into the net, like really far away. One of my buddies was super good at basketball at the time. He went up to play, he shot the basketball landed directly on the rim and stopped.
Oh, wow.
It was in the hoop. The ball was too big for the hoop, and you couldn't win anyway. So the carnival gentleman gave him a prize and told him to go. Just get out of there. Because he figured out that you were not going to win that game. It was a 0% chance of winning. Okay? That type of game is...
on the machine and get it in there.
Yeah, so he just got extremely lucky with the actual shot. The basketball landed right in there. Now that was a rarity. That doesn't happen all the time.
So does that technically count at half a point?
No. So, but that for his game, he knew that no matter how many tries he had, he was going to have 0%. Not 16%, he was going to have 0%. He just hadn't got lucky. Okay? It was just one of those things, and I wanted to show you these types of story prompts. Now, vocab words. This is something I also want you to write up above. Okay? The part before the word of is usually a rate. The part after the word of is the base. And the part that is over by itself, that's in front of, or it's around the is part, this part is the percentage. So I'd like you to label that. The part in front of the word of is a rate.
Quick, go to home base.
The part after the word of is a base. The part around the word is, somewhere around the word is the percentage. That's the answer you're looking for. It's usually, the percentage is the answer. Usually. For these.
Oh, it's not a base structure?
It's not every time, so I'm going to put this in a little bubble. It's not every time, because we're going to show you some different prompts here.
Oh, boy.
Okay, now I'm going to leave that up there, because we're going to do another problem, same exact styling, has the same wording, but it's not going to be solved the exact same way. So, watch this. Okay, and this is the sentence I'd like you to write down. So, here's my next example, and we're going to compare it to that one. That's why I'm leaving that one on the board. Okay, here we go. 5.
Point.
Oh, jeez. 5 is
Santa Claus is coming down.
20%
Santa Claus is not coming
of what number?
Well, this is another example. I thought this was an actual
Yeah.
problem.
Another example. Okay, and I'd like you to write this down. So here it is. 5 is 20% of what number? In fact, I'm gonna bring this over a little bit so it has a little more spacing.
Do we have to
Example.
exactly write all those words?
5, yep.
Can I write the
is 20.
letter form for like the numbers in actual
Yeah.
number form?
Does the office
20%
have anything
of-
like heartburn?
What? Okay, all right. Write that down, and then we're going to label the parts. We're going to see why this problem is different than the last one.
Does the office
Yeah, it
have anything
hurts.
for heartburn?
It's like I did. Oh, wait a minute.
Right.
5 is... What?
Is 100 a million too?
Is 20% of what number?
20.
Anyone?
20.
Uh,
Allison.
yes, maybe.
5 is 20% of what number?
5.
baseball. I have a,
Ice bat.
I have an ice bottle.
I wonder if it'll take all day
I'm gonna wait till you get this all written down. Then we're gonna label all the parts.
for that to melt.
It actually might.
Okay. Now I'm gonna go through this, and now I'm gonna just walk around the room, and I want you to tell me what these are. Okay? All right. The word is. So we'll start with Sam. What is the word is on a sentence? What is it supposed to be if you look at your first example?
Equals.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Eric. Okay.
I was looking in the wrong spot, that's why I couldn't find it.
All right. We'll go to the second one. So Sam, you can have the next one since Eric took your is 20%. How do you write that as a decimal, please?
20%. That would be 0.20.
0.20. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Connor, the word of. What is that supposed to be in a story problem? If you look at my example, I just did a little. Not an equal sign. That was the word is. What was the word of earlier?
Times.
Times. We're going to use a little dot. Okay. We're back to Eric. What number? What do we have to put in terms of the when they say what number?
0.
Nope. When we put a what? What do we have to put?
Variable.
A variable. Make up any letter you like, but not O, I, S, or L.
B.
V.
And don't you say anything, Sam.
Okay. We're gonna pick V. All right. Now the other thing is what I have here. 5. Well, that's number 5. So like I know like Sam, you were asking earlier. Can I just put numbers instead?
No.
Yes, you can put numbers. So 5 is 20% of what number? All right. This problem is not solved by simply multiplying. Because look at your problem. You have V times 0.20, 0.2, or 0.20, equal sign with a 5. Is the V by itself? No, it's got a 0.2 time being multiplied on it, right? So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna take this 0.2 to the other side, and instead of multiplying, you do the complete opposite of it. What is the opposite of multiplying?
Divide.
Dividing. You're going to take 5 and you're going to divide by 0.2. That way, it'll get the V by itself, and once you have the V by itself, that will help you get to your final answer.
25.
So, say it again.
25.
You get 25? Take 5 divided by 0.2 on your calculator.
Yeah, 0.2 is 25.
Good. Questions on how we got V? Yeah, that should make sense. Think about it. Think about the story problem. You're taking 20% of a base. You're playing a game. You're trying to figure out 20% of this many attempts will give me 5 wins. Well, that means I have to play the game more than 5 times because I was only getting 20% chance of winning. If it was 100%, yeah, 5 of 5. You did 5 attempts, you've won 5 times in a row. Think about back to the carnival games. There's a couple of carnival games you can play over at the carnival during the 4th of July in Clear Lake. You win every single time. It's a guaranteed win.
gosh.
They tell you instantly, you'll win a prize if you just attempt it. That's fine. That's a 100% win. I didn't have a 100% win. I had a 20% win chance. So that's what they're trying to show you.
Carnival.
Questions, comments about these types of problems. Now, here's what I'd like you to do. On this sentence, I'd like you to label the base, label the percent, and label the percentage. So percent, which is rate, the percentage, and the base. Label that on your sentence, please. So label it. I'm going to walk around the room. So use your previous sentence, label the rate, base, and percentage on this new sentence.
What?
So on your new sentence that you just wrote there, I would like you to label the percentage, the base, and the rate. Label them. Write the words down. You should have my last sentence to help you out to label which part's which. So go on the part in red that I have there and label your parts. Base, rate, and percentage.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So you're labeling the parts that I have up here in green. You're labeling these things, these parts. You're going to label it on your sentence. And then we're going to check to see if you have it right. So you're labeling these 3 words on your sentence. And use mine as an example.
Done.
Are we supposed to do the same thing as up there?
Yeah, so the part I have written up there in green, you're gonna put on my sentence, the one in red.
They're both in red though.
Is it melting?
Yes, you're taking these 3 words and you're labeling your sentence with that.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I was confused which,
Oh, I-
You know, if you keep your hand like that,
Yeah.
you're squeezing more.
Eric, you already have it written?
Yep.
Okay, let me see yours.
Quit heckling.
What?
Quit heckling.
You can't control it.
Yeah, you can. Let's go Allison.
That actually worked. I think it's.
Okay, let me check yours.
That says base right there, just so I need to know.
You do not know the way.
What's it?
You do not know the way.
And one in the back.
I actually don't.
You gotta look up that video on YouTube, it's hilarious.
Hey, but it's pinball.
What?
Pinball machine.
Oh no. I don't like pinball machines. They are not fun. I don't know why, because I can never beat them.
I beat one when I was little.
So, label your sentence. I'm gonna walk around, I'm still checking. You label the base, the rate, the percentage on your sentence. Alright, here we go. I've only saw one person in the room get it. One person got this right. Here it is. The part after the word of is base. This number you're missing. This part that's before the word of, that's your rate. You should not get those wrong. If you find the word of, you can label those automatically. The part that's around the word is, so that's really close to the word is, this is your percentage. Now I know that seems a little weird, because a lot of people are always like, well, Ward, that just said word percent. That's called a rate.
Hey.
A percentage is the actual number that's on the other side. It's on the other side of the word is.
Oh, I got the
There.
middle one right. I just mixed
Yep.
up the
You gotta find the word of, and you can label those 2 parts. Alright. Now, this is doing algebra 1. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to do this with a percent, and this is my final type of problem. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna go to this, back to this original problem. So I'd like, if you don't already have it, go on the page where it's at, up above. Okay, here's how you're gonna do this. I'd like you to set up a proportion, like that, where you set 2 fractions being equal. We're gonna put numbers here, 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 and here. So you need to set your 2 proportions, sorry, your 2 fractions, and put an equal sign between them. Okay, now, before you start, is there a rate on that problem? 16%, right? What is percents out of? What's the best score you can have in a percent? 100%. So 16.
10 over 10.
If it's a percent, you're gonna put 100 on the bottom of it. Okay? On the other side, if this is the base, the 24 is the base, it's the word after the word of. The base always goes on the bottom. This is where the base goes. Base is like basement, it's always on the bottom. And then on the top, this number is always the percentage. Okay, I'd like you to write that down, and we're done for the day. We'll come back, we're gonna look at this tomorrow. Okay, you need to be ready to go. If you brought a calculator for me, make sure you're gonna back my caddy, please. I need them for the rest of the day. Okay, you have period 6 next.
I
No,
get so
7.
nervous when I walk in